Welcome to Heart Menders Live with Carol Gordon, where Jesus has been changing hearts and lives since 1987. I am your host, and my guest today is Shelby Bullard. We are lifting up the name of Jesus around the world today. Shelby is a partner of Tyler Joe Williams, whom you may have seen on the show before. He's been on a couple of times. And they have Oklahoma youth wrestling in the south part of Oklahoma City, where they minister to boys that need something to do after school to keep them on the right track. And they've had some astounding things happen in the last year. And so we're going to hear Shelby's story of how he got doing things with Tyler, and then we'll go on from there. So have you known Tyler a long time?
Probably 5 or 6 years. We kind of knew each other through some acquaintances before the foundation, but I didn't know him very well.
Yeah. So you weren't in going to college with him and wrestling and all that kind of stuff. Were you a wrestler before?
I was. I wrestled for Yukon High School and then also for UCO. I was on scholarship up there 4 years and got to wrestle with some really, really good guys up there. That's
great. Well, Oklahoma's a big wrestling state.
Oh yeah, my dad was a wrestler, and
really?
That's all I ever wanted to do.
Oh, really? Well, I know my oldest daughter would have loved to have been, and when she was in high school, the queen for the wrestlers, but she got, I think she was the sweetheart for the football. She wasn't queen, so, but she would have a whole lot rather been the one with the wrestlers. She really liked that. So I'm just really excited. How did you decide, you and Tyler, to start Oklahoma City Youth Wrestling?
Well, it kind of started, Tyler knew my roommate well, and he also knew my boss. I worked for a medical company for about 6 years, and he was good friends with a lot of those guys, went to school with them and stuff. He was looking for an assistant coach, and I think my boss as well as my roommate said that maybe I'd be a good somebody that he could call and just give me a call and see what I said. He called me up and just kind of out of the blue called me up and asked me to meet him, and we had breakfast at Class and Grill, and I remember it really well. I mean, he just kind of told me what he was thinking and what he kind of had got to put on his heart, and I thought it sounded pretty cool, and said I'd do it.
Great. Isn't it wonderful how God puts people together and brings like hearts together?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So how long has that been going, the youth wrestling?
We've had 4 seasons, so 4 years, and this is going to be the start of our 5th season. We start in November. We do a mentoring program as well, and this will be our 4th season for mentoring. So we started it a year after our first year.
Okay. And so how many boys do you expect to have this year?
For the Warriors, anywhere from 50 to 100.
Whoa.
We always, I mean, even the first year, it always starts out pretty low numbers. By the end of the year, it's 60, 80 kids.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we have another team, the Marcus Garvey Panthers, and it's kind of the same deal. But it's on the other side of town. We support them. Tyler started it, and he got a head coach over there, and they have 30 to 60 kids every year.
Really? That's wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. There's just such a urgency in the heart of God for the youth that we contact them, get them going early. I just recently read a book by a man who was at one time he's from Lebanon, and he was a PLO terrorist. But he came to the United States, and he ran into some people that were so good to him when he was ill. They took him in, took care of him, and he saw that he'd been lied to about the heart of Christians and Jews. And so he began to look around and gave his life to the Lord. but he brings out how thoroughly indoctrinated they are with their way of life. And it's done on purpose. The parents are just brought up to teach their children that way of life and the hatred. And what impressed me was so much that we don't even, many families just think their kids just grow up, and we get them trained by the television instead of even input from mother and father, except by example, some of which is not always the best. And we don't put into them what they need for life, and good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
So we have to do things with the kids when they're young. And I can remember, youth choirs and Sunday school and stuff coming up, and it was a big part of our life, but it wasn't so much so for my children. We didn't think to do that. We took them to church, and that was about it.
Right.
But they need so much more now. The more intensely negative the culture gets, the more we have to pour into kids. So you all are doing an amazing work, because if you can touch that many kids a year at whatever level that you get to sow into their hearts, it can change a whole lot in this world, because they never forget the things that touch their heart. And you're laying your life down for that. That's just wonderful. That's just wonderful. Well, how was how did they sneak up on you to get you on the television thing with the Secret Millionaire?
It was pretty sneaky. When they first pitched the idea of coming in and doing a documentary, it was just two younger kids around my age, and they did the interview on a camera phone. And it wasn't the first time somebody had come to us with the idea of doing a documentary, so we were kind of like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And they interviewed Tyler and I and a couple of kids, and they said that they would be back in a couple of weeks and let us know. And it was, it was not something we hadn't seen before, so we were just like, okay, that sounds great. And that's kind of how it got started. Just it was a familiar thing, so we didn't really suspect until they showed up with a huge camera crew and a lot of really nice equipment, and we just
looked different than what you'd seen before then, huh?
Absolutely. Before it was always just somebody with a little video camera or a camera phone or whatever, and we never expect anything. I mean, we're just happy that people want to come and volunteer, and possibly, something will come from it, but we weren't expecting anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, was it? Were they clever enough that the two guys that came and volunteered didn't appear to be connected?
Well, we figured they were just there to help tell the story. Just kind of. Tyler said it well. He thought they were just aspiring actors, or just a couple of normal guys who are, wanting to maybe have a career in acting of some sort, or whatever. We didn't expect anything like what happened.
So they really took you by surprise.
Very much, and
and they were real helps while they were there, I gather.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they jumped right in and were great, and just like you'd expect a couple of guys like that to be.
Yeah.
They just jumped in and gave it everything, and we really appreciated them while they were there.
And they were obviously not novices at being fit and wrestling that sort of thing either.
Yeah, Dave was an experienced wrestler, and both very experienced in fitness. So yeah, we were kind of picked up on that a little bit, and I expected Dave, being a wrestler to be, but they both knew everything. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was good help to have.
Absolutely, yeah. We wanted them to come back, and they have.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, you had not picked up on anything substantial about what it was until they actually told you?
Yeah, and it was funny. The guy who came and interviewed us that first time, he's the one who kind of that we talked to the most, even during filming and all that stuff. And there was a couple of times where I would kind of pull him aside and be like, "Hey, are you sure? What are you guys really doing? What is all this? Because this, you know." And he's like, "Nah, it's we're just gonna. We have some guys who are wealthy donors or wealthy sponsors who are trying to help us out to make an independent film." That's what they kept telling us, independent film documentary. And we bought it. I mean, we just, I asked him at least twice about it, and he's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. So hopefully it'll be something really cool, but,
Well, that's fun, though.
Yeah,
And looking back, it's really fun, isn't it?
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Well, what were the steps after that? After you got up from fainting on the floor, they told you what they were doing.
I remember...
and they did that on camera.
Yeah. They filmed it all, and then they just packed everything up and left. And we were all kind of... It was pretty funny. The group of coaches that were there that got to see it all, we were all just kind of sitting there like, did that just happen? After it was over, they packed up and they were gone. They gave them hugs and told us they'd be contacting us and all that stuff, and then they just left, and we were just all sitting in there. And it was pretty funny, and they gave us the little key fob, and said that this was going to be the key to our new gym. Well, a couple of us got together that night, and we went, and there was a church function that we had gone to that night together, and we were all kind of hanging out, and we left maybe at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and we went to one of the Anytime Fitnesses that was already open. We tried to use our key to get in, and it wouldn't let us in.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just all kind of standing out, looking through the windows at what an Anytime Fitness was, because I had never been to one before.
Mm-hmm. How many are there here in the city?
Within about 20 miles, I think there's around 15.
Really?
15, 14, yeah, and there's going to be a couple of new ones popping up here pretty soon, here in the next year. So they're always building new ones, and by the end of the year, there'll be over 2,000 of them in the country.
Whoa! And they were what, at 900 when they did your show, something like that?
I think they were more like 1,700.
1,700.
Yeah.
Well, I'm remembering that wrong.
Or 18.
But yours is in Bethany at 23rd and Rockwell.
23rd and Rockwell.
So that's a real handy for us.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is great. So what has all happened since then? What were the steps that convinced you this is the real deal?
Well,
they checked and bounced.
Yeah, that's right. And I had a job where it was really a career. I've been in there. I worked for the same group of guys for about 6 years, and I was like, wow, so am I supposed to quit my job now and start doing this? And about a week or two after the filming, they flew us to Minneapolis, and we met at the corporate headquarters, and we met with Chuck and Dave. We met all the corporate staff, and they basically said, yeah, you guys, this is the real deal. And we actually picked out a site for they gave us a bunch of options, and we started working out where we were going to build our location. And we just basically got to work. And after that, they flew us to Washington, D.C. for their national conference for a few days, and a couple of weeks after that was training, and I had quit my job by the time we had gone to training, which was in October. So they filmed August 26th, and I had quit my job by the middle of October.
Yeah. So that is amazing that it all worked out to where it benefited you and Tyler so much.
Right.
And personally, as well as benefiting the ministry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is just wonderful. Isn't it amazing how many things there are? Because I can remember you used to never hear on television about people doing charitable things or beneficial things or helping other people, and there's a lot of that now, not maybe compared to how much junk there is on television, but there are things where people are benefiting other people with their expertise or their money or something. And I believe that's just part of what the Lord is doing. He guides our hearts, and many people that do those kinds of things are believers, not all, but I just think it's part of the groundswell of what the Lord is doing in the nation. I think there's so much more there because we don't hear about all of it. I know that there are things here in the Oklahoma City community that are going on that most people never hear about. I'm in a position where I get to hear about some of them,
right.
And it's exciting because it's just amazing how God will use the things that you've walked through in your life, good, bad, and indifferent, as training for what purpose He has for you to advance the kingdom. And you probably didn't know when you were wrestling, just because that was the natural thing to do, that He would ever be using it for the kingdom. Or all kinds of things that way. Even people's tragedies. We have people come on that their testimony is one of just, oh my goodness, how could that have happened to somebody? And still the glory of the Lord bringing them through and out and calling them into a ministry where whatever they went through is now where they can say to somebody, I know where you are, and this is what the Lord did for me, and sow hope and blessing into their lives. And He just works that way. And it's just amazing how He does, and that we get to find out about it and I'm just blessed to get to showcase those things, and it streaming around the world so that people in other places can be encouraged, because God works the same way everywhere. As much as we'll cooperate, He will do with us.
Right.
Amen. So what do you have other plans? Did you say you're going to open a second one that you and Tyler will be involved in?
Not us, but one of the other coaches, Kojo Ajapong. He's my foster brother. He's gonna. They really liked him. He's a hard worker, and he's real passionate about Anytime Fitness. He was a member of Anytime Fitness a year or two before the show. So he had and he had even discussed with some of the local guys, the local Anytime owners and managers, the one he goes to, and discussed what it takes to own one or to run one, and he's got a real passion for it. And Chuck and Dave, they're the co-founders. They really liked his passion, so they offered him to open a corporate club. So they're gonna basically partner with him in opening a new club, and he's trying to do that by January.
Oh, great!
January, February.
Great. Well, the community is blessed by thriving businesses, and the people that come are blessed by being healthier. So it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a win-win situation, and then the ministry is blessed by 20% of the proceeds going to the ministry. Oh my!
We actually, Chuck and Dave just made a trip down last week, and they came back. It was a year from the filming. They flew back down and visited with us for a couple of days. We did some fun stuff. We went to the church, and we kind of had a little practice. They brought a film crew down, and they filmed some, just kind of some fun stuff with some of the kids. We did some wrestling and just had fun, and they took us out to dinner, which is always great. Those guys really they always treat us really well when we're with them. And they actually gave us some really exciting news. This month, they have decided to match whatever money we receive in donations to the OKC Youth Wrestling Foundation. They're going to match it. So whatever comes in the month of September, they're gonna match it.
Oh,
and
that's great.
They said it doesn't matter how much comes in, the more the better, and they're wanting to really push this month to get as much donations in as we can, and they're wanting to help us out. So it's kind of like they came back a year later and they're going to help us out again.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's really cool.
That is wonderful.
If anybody, we're trying to really push hard this month, and it's, you just okcyouthwrestling.org, and you can get on there. It's got all of our info, and if you're wanting to donate, you can donate there, or you can just, the address and the info is all on the website.
Okay. Well, I know that Tyler gave us a website for Anytime Fitness. I'm not sure I've got it right, but so we will just repeat that again. You can donate to OklahomaYouthWrestling.org. OKC.
Yep.
OKCYouthWrestling.org on the web, and that will be a blessing because it will be doubled by the wonderful guys that were the secret millionaires. Woohoo!
Yep.
That is great.
Really excited about it.
That is great, and I know that if any of you would like to have Shelby come and share, his email is shelbybullard@ymail.com, right? And his telephone is 405-470-4440. So, and also they can be contacted at Anytime Fitness. Is there a specific one for yours?
It's the Bethany location.
Bethany, is it Anytime Fitness Bethany, or is it you just go / and then Bethany?
If they want to send us an email, it's BethanyOK@AnytimeFitness.com.
Okay.
You can also get on the AnytimeFitness.com website and just you go to find a club, and you just find the Bethany location, put in Bethany, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Our website pops up.
That's
and it's
great.
on there as well.
That's great. So you can find out about the ministry, and you can find about the Anytime Fitness, which I'm planning to visit very soon. I've been over just to say hello once, but I'm going to sign up.
We'll get you hooked up.
Okay, that's great. Well, I'm just really a believer in the benefits of exercise. I know when I was quite young, I had a lot of trouble just keeping up with other kids, be short of breath, couldn't ride my bicycle very far. But after my third child was born, my husband had won this big fancy vacation, and I thought I need to be able to keep up. So I started walking just around my own yard, and then that was in the summertime. And then his folks came up to visit for Labor Day weekend, and he was embarrassed for them to see me walking and him not, because he was really overweight. And so he started walking with me, and then we started walking around the block, and then we eventually wound up over at the YMCA. But we got to where it took us a while before we could actually jog or run.
Right.
But we kept at it until we could do that. And I know it changed my entire cardiovascular system, because I don't have any trouble running up and down the stairs, keeping up, have lots of energy. It was a total change just by walking. And so I've been to, exercise classes, different places, all of these years, off and on. Sometimes more off than on lately.
Right. It's okay.
But I know how valuable it is.
Definitely is. Nowadays, a lot of the insurances are coming out and either giving discounts or paying for
Really?
Yeah, because they figure that the more exercise you do, the healthier you are. And Anytime Fitness is now partnered with Prime and Silver Sneakers. It's two wellness programs that if you're part of those wellness programs, you can come and sign up for free.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I'm not, but I did see that in your ad. You had an ad in the recent Bethany paper, and I thought, wonder what those are.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's a really neat program, and you know, if you just call your insurance, you can find out whether or not you're eligible for that program or not. But once you're in the Prime or Silver Sneakers program, it costs you nothing to work out at the gym. And basically, you come in, we sign you up, we give you a key, and it's free.
Well, really? Oh, I'll check that out. Free is very appealing.
It is, very much.
Oh, good. Well, No telling what all will come from this.
Mhm.
So, tell me we've got time for about one more good story. Tell me about one of the boys that you've seen their lives totally change.
Right. Well, one of my favorite kids his name is Jeffrey, and he started with us 3 years ago. It was the first year we moved over to Inner City Church. The year before, we were at Southeast High School, and we always have sign-ups. It's usually the last week of October, right around to the first week of November, and Tyler was there by himself, and I was showing up after work, and when I showed up, there were these 3 kids just kind of rummaging around in the gym, and they were the 3 dirtiest kids I had ever seen in my life, just covered, look, from head to toe with dirt. And one of those kids was Jeffrey, and it was him and his little brother and another little kid from the neighborhood. They just lived down the street, 1 block, and they just kind of came wandering through the gym, and Tyler asked them if they wanted to wrestle, and they said sure, so he started working on getting them signed up. And Jeffrey was, when he first signed with us, he was just really, really angry child. I mean, he didn't talk, he didn't smile, he didn't really listen, follow directions, but he fought a lot. It was about, we have 2 practices a week, and he was fighting at least 1 practice a week with somebody. And he just real unhappy kid, and he was really struggling in school. Half the time he was getting kicked out, couldn't read very well, and that's when we started our mentoring program as well. So he lived almost next door to the church, so him and his little brother were coming to mentoring. We had a lady who came in who her name is Miss Phyllis, and she specializes in learning disabilities, and she diagnosed him with dyslexia, and she started working with him. From then on, she'd work with him 30 minutes a day, and his reading got a lot better, and he started to gain a little bit of confidence. And right around the same time that his reading started getting better, he started going to wrestling tournaments, and that natural meanness and aggression came out and really helped him in wrestling. I mean, he got out there, and he'd never even seen a wrestling match before. We threw him out into his first match, and he really did well. And he got out there and it was funny because kids would be scared of him. Kids who had been wrestling 2 or 3 years were scared of wrestling this kid who had never wrestled before, just because he was so mean. And they'd be crying by the end of the first period.
Oh my goodness.
Still got 2 periods left to wrestle, and and he got out there, and he ended up winning novice state that year, and which is a big deal. I mean, for a first-year kid to get out there and win novice state, and it was great. I mean, he was, we call them state champions because we take him out for a steak dinner every year, and so he was one of our first state champions, and so he just smiled more. He started talking to us, started kind of making friends, and it's been a kind of up and down battle. He's been with us, this will be his 4th season with us, and it's been definitely an up and down battle, but it's a huge improvement from that first day that I met him and that first month that he was part of the OKC Youth Wrestling Foundation to now. And
Yeah.
I saw him the other day. He came when Chuck and Dave came by. He was there, and and he's just improved tremendously, and it's been great to be part of that, and to see that, it's kind of tough sometimes when you don't see a lot of results, but with him and with a lot, we get to see the results.
Well, so just the atmosphere of being around men who have the Lord in their life absolutely changes the atmosphere for these kids, I'm sure. Just that, because they've never seen that, probably. So we need to sign off here pretty quick. Thank you so much, Shelby, for sharing your heart with us today, and I bless you in all that you're called to do. And we're just about out of time. I wanted you to pray for people, but I asked you for a story instead. So, so we just pray and agree that there will be more and more boys like Jeffrey that will be turned around in their lives. And I just thank you for coming. We thank you for watching. And remember, Oklahoma City Youth Wrestling.org. OKC Youth Wrestling. So we'll see you next time. Bye for now.